r/AskReddit by Reddify. What is often overlooked when considering a zombie apocalypse? Gasoline eventually expires. That's why you need a diesel-powered vehicle. With some cooking oil and a few additives you can make fuel when necessary. There was a short-lived series on TV about getting out alive. Can't remember the name of it. The guy showed a little bit of how to make fuel. Fun fact, diesel engines are very popular in Germany. When diesel became more expensive, people started to use cooking oil instead, which works great with older diesel engines. The government then changed the law and made using oil instead of diesel illegal. It's considered tax evasion. Lube. Seriously. If you are driving through a big crowd of zombies, you don't want some big truck wrapped in barbed wire and spikes. Zombies don't care. Just give them something to hang on to. Just get some bubble-shaped car like a VW Beetle or something. Lube up the whole thing with something slick. Then just drive through the zombie horde. They can't hang on to anything. Nothing to grab. They just slide right off. That big barrel of lube in my house. I'm saving it for zombies. Is that what you tell your guests? I would if I had any. People on remote islands who won't be affected by the outbreak, provided no traveling is had. In the book World War Z, being in an island doesn't protect you. Zombies would just keep on walking, even under the ocean, and emerge on the beach of your remote island. Edit. So how does this partial suspension of disbelief work? We believe in the premise of zombies, but have to be strict about the science about everything else? Come on people. Just roll with it and have fun. I love that book. They actually explained why the military failed so hard. It was simply because military was used in fighting human opponents. Wound a man. He is out of the fight. But wound a zombie, it is still coming. Shoot at the leg. It still crawls. Shoot at the hand, it will still shamble toward you. Zombies don't win by rushing the enemy as with the modern post-apocalyptic movies loved you to believe. They don't just destroy the civilization overnight. It's an endurance fight. They just keep coming. Over and over. A modern military can have all the toys they want. But in time the wall of corpses gets just too high. And your tanks just cannot clear it out no more. And then it starts to rot. And you get ill. And you cannot clear it out because there is just so much of it, and they just keep coming. And then you get surrounded. So you abandon position. You cannot establish effective perimeter because it's just tidal wave of bodies of millions of people. That's a movie I would love to see. A military trying to deal with the crisis, but failing miserably as they realize the war they were fighting is unlike anything they fought before. People that snore when they sleep will probably not make it through the night. On a positive note, the survivors that are able to breed will create a new race of non-snoring humans. The real evolution of humanity after the zombies are eliminated. Do you wear contacts or glasses? When society collapses, you're likely pretty ducked in the long term. I think about this all the time. I have glasses, but if they were to break, now I gotta go from office trying to find 2 new lenses, then I gotta find a way to put them together in case they aren't the same shape. The strength of world militaries. This is one of the big reasons 28 Days Later is one of the best zombie movies. It's pretty much the only mainstream zombie movie that makes the zombies believably dangerous, even to the military. Instead of relying on character stupidity to drive the plot, they utilize actually dangerous zombies. Because it's the virus that gets people, the zombies are just a byproduct of it. That's what makes it scary. You can fight off zombies pretty easy in most incarnations, but a bloodborne highly contagious pathogen, bit harder. Even when you do everything right. Bicycles. People forget these things exist in every apocalypse. An even worse offender is when bicycles are in the background of movies/shows and nobody uses them. The very first zombie we see in The Walking Dead is the bicycle girl. Rick proceeds to steal a horse as his mode of transportation, which then gets eaten by zombies almost immediately. The fact that, as long as you can survive about 64 days, then it will be over. Flesh rots. Agreed. Go to a desert, and between heat and scavengers a body can be down to the bones in as little time as 2 days. Yay. But if you do it wrong, it'll be your body that you won't be the protagonist. A buddy of mine was talking about how awesome a zombie apocalypse would be in Carrying On. So I asked him, Have you ever shot a gun? Well, no. He replied. But I always figured I'd be more of a sword guy. Have you ever even held a sword? Zombie. You're going to be a zombie. Sword guys are the ones that'll die first. Swords are not practical at all and are romanticized by games and movies when they would actually be a huge hindrance. Plus good luck getting a properly functional blade. Libraries provide a wealth of information. How to cultivate food, build shelters, give first aid, fix mechanical devices, provide entertainment, and so much more. In every zombie movie/show, or even any post-apocalyptic show, they also struggle with simple survival things. They show them learning by doing and constantly making mistakes, which will happen regardless of the information you have. But a library will be one of the first places I stop at in that situation. Knowledge is power. Edit. Thanks for gold. Edit 2. People criticizing my grammar. I'm typing this on my phone. I'm too lazy to go back and fix all autocorrects. I refuse to fix it now out of spite. Live with my grammatical errors. Why make a shelter? Live at the library. No one ever thinks to go there, so no one is ever going to show up. And libraries are usually not too far from the center of town, so food is close by. Maybe all the successful people go to the library and don't struggle as much, so their stories never get told. How like a third of people who manage to survive the zombie apocalypse will die because modern medicine is no longer around. You got diabetes? Dead. Major food allergy to a common food? Likely to die. Pretty much any chronic disease that limits movement? Dead. You catch the flu? Probably dead. You get appendicitis? Dead. The only times I've actually seen this explored correctly is Stephen King's The Stand, wherein he devotes a few pages to how a good percentage of people who are immune to the Captain Trips virus end up dying because they are dependent on society for survival. The Walking Dead does touch on this too with the flu story arc in the prison, but it also ignores it completely with things like Carl's eye getting shot out and Herschel's leg being chopped off and them being able to recover in a world that hasn't been producing new antibiotics for several years. We'd probably even see a series of post-zombie pandemics and preventable deaths, with infectious diseases wiping out millions more people within a few years and infant mortality/deaths due to childbirth increasing. The loss of antibiotics is only part of the problem. Lack of functioning modern hospitals mean any complications during labor and delivery are more likely to be fatal to mother and/or child. Lack of nutritious food and clean water mean miscarriages, stillbirths, and sickly babies are more likely as well. Lack of birth control and condoms also mean more unwanted/unplanned pregnancies, followed by abortions performed in unsafe conditions or by unsafe means, and abandoned/neglected children. Lack of antiretroviral drugs means HIV positive individuals' viral loads skyrocket and they develop AIDS. The absence of condoms and probable reuse and sharing of hypodermic needles due to scarcity mean HIV spreads like wildfire. If we manage to transfuse blood, we probably won't be able to test it reliably. Lack of condoms also means bacterial STDs spread more widely and rapidly, with no antibiotics around to stop them. Lack of law enforcement on the ground could also increase the incidence of ape, worsening both the STD and unwanted pregnancy issues. Lack of adequate personal protective equipment in makeshift hospital settings mean that acute communicable diseases go untreated and/or spread rapidly to healthcare providers, family members, and other patients. Various forms of influenza are only the tip of the iceberg, even with modern medicine. Viruses like Ebola make their way to developed countries and spread to health workers. The only saving grace will be that air travel will be rare, if it exists at all, limiting how far diseases can spread. Lack of sanitation and clean water mean diseases like cholera become a problem again in previously developed nations. And illnesses like typhoid fever and hepatitis that can spread through food. Lack of vaccination means the likely resurgence of mumps, measles, whooping cough, and other diseases that emerge when herd immunity ceases to exist. If you step on a rusty nail trying to build a shelter for your family, no tetanus shots for you, and no veterinary vaccinations, either if rabies hasn't been fully eradicated in your country, expect to see some vicious animals foaming at the mouth. If you train a working dog to help you hunt, or herd livestock, or do guard duty, they might contract and spread distemper. Your livestock, assuming any livestock survive the zombies, will also be susceptible to disease. Plus, a significant percentage of the survivors who don't die from lack of modern medicine and communicable disease will cease to be productive members of society, hindering our ability to rebuild and recover. Doctors, nurses, scientists, engineers, architects, carpenters, farmers, teachers, and soldiers/Leos will be rare and in high demand. So will individuals with exceptional physical strength or leadership abilities. Now, take that already shrunken pool of valuable human capital and adjust for the number of them who rely on any of the following to apply their skills to the best of their ability. They might not be dead in the near term, but you won't get 100% out of them either. Let's say, hypothetically, that they provide on average about 50% of their potential utility without the healthcare or resources they need: corrective lenses for nearsightedness, farsightedness, astigmatism, etc. Medication or therapy to treat depression, anxiety disorders, insomnia, ADHD, or other mental illnesses. Medication or physical therapy to manage chronic pain with non-lethal causes, such as migraines or back injuries. Medication to manage autoimmune diseases, like lupus or multiple sclerosis or rheumatoid arthritis. Medication to manage epilepsy. Hormone replacement therapy for conditions such as hyperthyroidism. These people may have or scavenge enough of what they need to survive the zombies, but eventually lack of new production will catch up to them, and their supplies will run out. The only thing I'd miss is my inhaler. It'd run out eventually, and I wouldn't have the presence of mind to go to the pharmacy and take a couple dozen before it was too late. I think the most overlooked thing in any zombie apocalypse scenario is the fact that apparently most of humanity has forgotten how to make spears. You give someone a long stick and a knife and they are more likely to hit a zombie with a stick than get bit trying to stab it with a knife. This has always bothered me about zombie fiction. A spear is the perfect weapon for fighting zombies, but they are almost never used. That's what I'm saying. These people figure out pretty quick that zombie bites make more zombies. Yet, their logic leads to let's get as physically close as possible and stab it with a pocket knife. Make sure to like and subscribe so we can watch together.